on here earlier today. I can't. I'm about to get my 5K in the mix. It's way later than I wanted to. It's way later than I planned to, but it is what it is. I always say better late than never, but never late is better. It doesn't matter. I had probably the most peaceful day at work that I've had in about 3 months. And I want to say that a reason for that peace that I had was because of that uncomfortable conversation that we had Friday and the second uncomfortable conversation that we had on Monday. I am somebody who believes that those uncomfortable moments that we avoid to experience, I don't know what to call it, temporary relief. Hi, Vicky. Those uncomfortable conversations we avoid to experience temporary relief are the conversations that we need to learn. We need to be able to sit in to experience longer term solutions. Because I'm somebody, listen, when they brought that conversation to my doorstep and was like, Mark, I have to be real and blunt with you. I'm like, that's my language. I wish that you had been real and blunt with me all this time, because then I would have said what I had to say a lot sooner. Granted, I could have said what I had to say a lot sooner, but the power dynamics of an office workplace, especially one where you're not in a leadership position, you can be hesitant with the things that you are willing to put out on the table. So I was happy when they brought it to me. When somebody in my personal life tells me, you know what, Mark, I'm going to keep it real with you, and everything after that is something contentious, like, I have felt this and this way about you this whole time, you do this and you do that, I'm like, I would much rather you actually directly that you think that I do that bothers you. And I'm not saying that in a sense of it's not possible for me to be doing something that is bothersome or offensive to somebody. It's always possible. But what I'm trying to say is, I'd rather you tell me what that thing is and the way that you feel. Then either two things are going to happen. I'm going to tell you I disagree. I don't feel like I'm doing this thing that you're talking about. Or maybe you're interpreting it one way, but that's not the way that I mean it. Or it could go the way of me saying, oh, I was not aware that I was doing this thing that bothers you or offends you. And, in the future, going forward, I'm not going to do that thing. I have had things that people have made me aware of about myself that I wasn't aware of. Like, Mark, when you did or said this thing to me, it makes me feel like this. Like, I'll give you an example. It's a funny, strange example, maybe. Or chilling, I got a better idea. I can hide you from the channel, and then, I forgot what I was going to say. Hi, Johnny boy. Hi, Marshall. Yes, communication works indeed. It works one way or another. It either gets to the bottom of the issue, or you and that other party can come to the conclusion that you guys just don't mess with each other, So in this particular case, right, when we're talking about forced relationships in a sense, because when you go to work, you don't choose who you have to communicate with. I mean, in some senses you do, you can. Like, you can choose to make friends at work, but there's other people that is just mandatory for you to speak to them to get the job done. You have to speak to your supervisor. You have to speak to your manager. Sometimes your colleagues work on projects with you, so you have to speak to them to be able to communicate to get the project done. So there are some cases where you do have to speak to people at work and it's forced. So, in my opinion, instead of sitting around and somebody does something, it bothers you consistently and perpetually, and then you wait and you wait and you wait until it gets to a boiling point, and then y'all have this big confrontation at the end. Keep it real early. I believe in keeping it real with a person early, and that's because that's kind of the way that I grew up. I grew up in a face things head on type of, I'm not even going to say era, because there's other people who grew up in my era who did not have situations like that. But for me, when my family had something to tell me, when my teachers had something to tell me, when friends had things to tell me, they would just be like, Mark, this is what it is. And that's what I'm used to. And I think that's a fail-proof way to get things out of the way, whether it's with people you like or don't like. You know, sometimes the agreement is not like, let's do this and this and we're going to be friendly afterwards. It's just like, I know that these things trigger you. Like, these are trigger points for you. So therefore, I am not going to push these buttons. And that's where we're at. So yeah, so I feel like I caught a W at work. And the reason why I feel like I caught that W is because despite the fact that my work day was still hard as it usually is, the only thing that was hard was the actual work. And I think that sometimes when people hear me complain about work, they're thinking that it's my actual job that I do that is making me complain. Remember when I made my video where I said I don't hate my job? And I was trying my best to explain it, but I was having a hard time explaining it because those other factors that I hate about being employed at my place of employment were so loud in the background that I had a really hard time explaining it. Now, I feel like because of just having even just this one day where I only was dealing with the clients. I mean, not to say that I wasn't communicating with anyone else, but they weren't harassing me. They were just communicating with me. Mark, what's the status update on this? Mark, have you spoken to this person yet? Did you reach out to this doctor? Did you talk to this person? Like, those are just regular checks and balances that are going to happen. But when you're like, why hasn't this gotten done? Drop everything you're doing and do this thing immediately. I don't care where you are with this. This is a bigger priority because I decided it is. Like, when you start with the micromanagement and the insults and the demeaning and the lying and the gaslighting, that's the part that is like, it's too much. You take all of that out and just tell me like 80% of my work is just my direct dealings with the clients that I'm working with. Even the ones that are belligerent, even the ones that are like racist, even the ones that are inebriated, intoxicated, when I speak to them, like, even those ones, I can deal with that better than I can deal with all the background stuff. So I think I was going to give an example, but I was reading a comment. Okay, what was my example? I had it and I lost it. Okay, I'm trying to think of it again. Oh yeah, I remember now. Okay. So there was this person, I was giving them rides in my car, and I remember I gave them a ride in my car, and then I looked at the gas meter. The gas is like a quarter tank or less than a quarter tank. I was like, oh shoot, I don't have any gas, or I don't have much gas. And I dropped them off. Some other time that they were in my car, sometime later, a few weeks later, they were like, I was dropping them, I was taking them somewhere, dropping them somewhere. And then I happened to look at the gas, and it was happened to be quarter tank again or something. And I was like, I gotta fill up soon. It was actually me speaking to myself. Like, it was not even, oh, you're in my car, so you should be giving me gas. Even though I feel like somebody who is in your car, like, frequently, and it's not of like a family member or like a spouse or something, or a kid. I mean, we're adults here, like you should be chipping in something, chipping some gas. I remember I was getting rides from my friend to work and she didn't even ask me for gas money, but I felt like if I wasn't in her car, I would have to take the bus and the train. It would have taken me 2 hours to get there instead of 45 minutes. I'm gonna chip in gas. That's neither here nor there. I'm a direct person. So if I was saying you need to give me some gas, I wouldn't even take her in the car. I would be like, if she said I need a ride here or there, I would be like, okay, but I'm gonna need a little bit of gas money before I give you that ride. I'd say that before you get in the car. I wouldn't make some side comment about, oh, I need some gas, meaning you need to give me some gas. So the second time that I said it, she was like, well, if you need some effing gas money from me, just say that and I wouldn't take the ride. And I was like, I didn't say you need to give me some gas. Stating a fact, the gas is low in the car. So I was actually saying that I need to put some gas in my car. It had nothing to do with you, and you just flipped for no reason. So the thing about that was, she sat in my car and took my comment away that it wasn't meant the first time. Sat in the car and didn't say anything to me though, and just took it that way, right? So then she's thinking that the second time that I said it was related to the first time, when it was just two separate times where she happened to be in the car with me where the gas was low. Honestly, I like sometimes I'm not one of those like fill the gas when it gets to half people, so that's more of a me thing than a her thing, honestly. But the point of the matter is, if she felt away the first time, right, she should have said something to me the first time. And if she had said something to me the first time, I would have let her know. Me saying that my car needs gas was not a sideways way of telling you that you have to give me gas money. And that would have saved some contention and her yelling at me. And yeah, it would have saved some contention and her yelling at me. And then it would have saved us from having this, like, now I'm pissed at her because she's yelling at me for something that was not even my actual intent. So get those uncomfortable conversations out of the way and save yourself a lot of uncomfortable moments going forward. That's my message. Now I'm about to hit the track. Thanks for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank you all. Hi, Tricity, and hi, Janet. And bye. I'm sorry, but I'm just here and getting my run on. Talk to y'all later.